Blue, Joni Mitchell.
Yes.
Um, Close to the Edit by Art of Noise.
Awesome.
Definitely. Uh, Ant Music by Adam Ant. I'm just riffing here.
I'm down with riffing.
Whole Lotta Love was one of them.
Yeah.
Um, Superfly,
Yeah.
Curtis Mayfield. Tommy from The Who, the song. That whole record, really. Tommy. Oh shit, that reminds me. Power Edge was one of those ACD records that's ACDC records that's perfect from top to bottom. Okay, anyway, so what I named three people who what was the question?
Songs that changed your life.
Oh, songs that changed my life. Right. So Back in the Saddle.
Yeah.
Definitely, because that was that key opening song on that record. Hold on. Freeway Jam from Jeff Beck. And that's off the top of my head, that whole record.
I'm gonna go back. Somebody Save Me by Cinderella. I'm gonna go with Stand Up and Shout by Dio. I'm gonna go with this is another Dio one. Heaven and Hell by Black Sabbath.
Yeah. You taught yourself that song, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, at least I tried when I was a kid. now I know, but it's like when you're a kid, it's like, oh, I can figure that out. Not with the finesse of Tony Iommi, but 18 by Alice Cooper. Strange one. I want to say Wildflowers by Tom Petty.
Yeah.
And then Grace by Jeff Buckley.
Stevie Wonder, Living for the City.
Sick.
70s
Baby.
Yeah, 70s Baby. Let's see. Genesis, The Cage. That's Peter Gabriel. Yep. Genesis off of Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. Let's see. Welcome Home, King Diamond.
Yep.
And David Bowie's Starman.
Kings of Rock.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Jesus, that's a fucking good one. Don't Believe the Hype by Public Enemy. Any Beatles song, really. Yep. But if I had to pick one, Revolution, right? Yeah. Bob Marley, Rastaman Vibration.
Yeah.
And how many is that? That's
dude, right on.
Was that 4?
I think that's 4.
I need more.
Yeah.
And let me see. Life changing. Yeah. I'm gonna say what was the first Ozzy Osbourne song I heard? I think Crazy Train.
There's a song called Jerry's Breakdown. It's this country song that like blew my mind, when I was a little kid. It's by Jerry Reed. And then number 4, I would probably say, I Stole Your Love, because that was the first Kiss song I ever heard. I would say for number 3, I'd say, let's see, Far Beyond the Sun by Yngwie Malmsteen. Totally changed my life, I would say. Yeah.
That was an impression of him.
I love Yngwie, yeah. Let's see. Then I would have to say, what else was really changed my life? Boy, it's tough. I'd say Eruption, number 2. And, well, maybe that's my number 1, Eruption, because it just blew my mind. And probably number 2, Crazy Train.
Yeah. Also, yeah. That's a solid list.
Well, Gimme Shelter has to be number 1.
Yep.
And then it's not a song, but Dark Side of the Moon has got to be like, seminal for me. So we're left with 3 more. Okay.
Wire.
What?
Wire.
Well, yeah, it's not so much songs. I'm not as my new album shows you, I'm not
Yeah.
really a single guy. I like listening to albums and listening to the essence of a band. So you got to throw the first Killing Joke and the first Fire album
Yes.
in there. And then from there, after that, songs. I mean, here's the thing, man. It's like there are some country songs that touch deeply. So I would leave the fifth spot to somebody like a Hank Williams Sr. or a Buck Owens or a George Jones. Some of those tearjerkers when you feel alone in life and you're sitting alone at a bar and you're drinking a beer and that comes on and it hits you. Come on, that's got to be part
That's
of
real.
like.
It's real shit. Yeah.
Manic Depression, you know, Jimi Hendrix. I mean, any of those, like that first time you heard the Hendrix, you know, Foxy Lady, you know, Manic, that first, like maybe it's like a best of Hendrix, probably. Like, I know I was too young. Gary Wright, for sure. Dreamweaver, those singles. I mean, let's see. I'm just trying to think of like just really hearing the Sex Pistols. Like I've heard them before, but then hearing them one time when I was a freshman in high school, so it was way late. It was like, you know, 4 years after the Sex Pistols. But a friend of mine had a girlfriend. She had a mohawk, and she was playing the Sex Pistols, and the Sex Pistols were almost over, and I was just like, you know, probably I was not really giving it. And then she was just outside of the school that we were at, and she just had on a blaster and was just cranking. I was like, wow, that is the freaking heaviest thing I've ever heard. So, you know, just sort of those kind of moments where you kind of look back and think, I was so wrong about that. I don't know. Seeing X play live at Bumper Shoot. You know?
They're great.
Jane's Addiction, you know, that like maybe a Jane's Addiction show.
Oh, sure. Kentucky Avenue, Tom Waits is a really good one. Won't Get Fooled Again, The Who is a really good one. Judy Garland's live version from Carnegie Hall of Stormy Weather would be another one.
That is niche.
That is really good. If you hear that record, to me is one of the greatest records ever made. You know,
awesome.
Well, it's not rock, but it's that you hear that and you believe her. Anytime you hear her sing, especially on that record, "Somewhere Over the Rainbow," amazing song. Another one that changed my life. Maybe Born in the Bayou by Creedence Clearwater.
Wow.
Well, they might be kind of similar to the Five Posters, but I think of Black Sabbath Changes, because obviously, you know, like most of their music's very heavy and dark, but hearing that this like heavy metal band could also do like a heartfelt sort of like piano ballad really affected me and made me think about music in a different way. Not to mention it's just a great song. Again, I feel like I've said Tricky 800 times, but maybe Aftermath from Max and Quay, you know,
dude,
just
such an album.
Yeah. Man, I don't know, for some reason right now I want to say Celtic Frost, Dying God, Coming into Human Flesh. I just had a real moment with that, like in my 20s.
Have you had a hardcore moment?
I mean, I got into Converge from Ben. You know, I don't think I listened to a ton of hardcore. Sometimes I don't even know like what genres certain bands are. Like,
well, they're
like, I
kind of
really
their own
like
thing in some ways. Like,
like I really like Full of Hell right now, but I'm like, I don't know exactly what people would label that, but
I can't keep track of it. It's I've never liked genres as a name because they just feel like lazy journalism on some level. Let's just put it in a thing and just box it in a little package and
make it easier to sell. Basically.
sounds like the whole record company sounds like thing.
Yeah, we love that. Okay, Towns Fare Thee Well, Miss Carousel. I might like 4 songs or 3.
5.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Um.
4, 5.
Okay, yeah. I think probably Lindsey Buckingham's performance of Big Love at that MTV The Dance thing I was talking about. I didn't really like that song on the record, but that specific performance was just so killer and so just like present and clear, and his guitar playing was so on point, and it just really, really inspired me.
I mean, it would have to be Elton John doing Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, obviously. I guess hearing Black Sabbath, you know, any of their songs, you know, I mean, it's just like, I'm hearing Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath and everything like that. And obviously, you know, we all have connections with records when we were little kids, and, you know, when you were teenagers and certain moments, it just brings you right back in time, you know, to that moment when you first heard these songs. I mean, obviously, Diary of a Madman, hearing Over the Mountain and everything like that. And then, you know, all my favorite are hearing Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush live. And
yeah.
I guess, you know, Mahavishna Orchestra with John McLaughlin, Alvin Viola, Friday Night in San Francisco. You know, all the, you know, I still listen to these records today, and I just have amazing memories with all these records.
Valley of the Birds by Emerald Webb, Burning Down by King's X, Brown by Grotus, Mountain Song, or no, Ocean Size by Jane's Addiction, and probably that one song in that Young Gods album that I don't know the name of because I listened to it, and there's so many though. It's more albums than songs for me though.
Yeah.
You know.
What would the 5 albums be? Those ones?
Formula by Old Lady Drivers, Darker by Night by Rapoon, Songs of India by Ravi Shankar and George Harrison.
Awesome.
Other ones that I got 2 more. I don't know. I have to think on them.
And yeah,
because there's ones that but it's that was more of a love rather than a
change,
like a change. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just loved it. It was just wonderful, right? But it wasn't like everything was different after that, right?
Yeah.
I probably put King's X into there as much as I did.
Why? What did they do to you?
Well, I didn't like it when I first heard it, which is one thing, because everybody told me that they were like the next thing. Like that was the ad that they had in the magazine. It's like King's X is this is the band. And then when I heard it, I was like, oh, it's like not super heavy. It kind of has this Beatles thing. I was never a huge Beatles fan, right?
Yeah.
But there was something about, I just kept listening to it and it just kept sort of burrowing in. And then before I knew it, it was a part of my DNA.
Yeah.
And I think as well, probably Soul of a New Machine too. That first Fear Factory record was a huge thing for me, you know, and obviously I've spent lots of time with those guys, and I met Dino and everybody prior to that first record, because I was in a local band and we were touring down to LA and we stayed at their place. It was like one of these strange little scenarios, but it was just, that was the first time where I heard those kind of death metal guitar things in a way that my melodic mind liked.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of even though I did like Morbid Angel, and even though I did like Grave or Carcass or you know, to a certain degree Cannibal Corpse, they're more of a gimmicky thing for me, at least, right? It was,
they're on television.
Melodically, I could never understand the riffs. It didn't seem melodic to me.
Yeah.
It just seemed like, which was cool. But then all of a sudden, when Bert put a melody over it, I was like, oh, that's cool. That can be a total tool. You can use that type of guitar thing as a component for really hammering something home. And it was interesting to me that first, and I remember going to see, it was Clutch, Sepultura, and Fear Factory opening in Vancouver, like 1991 or something.
To me, I think about the formative years and like what made me make these sort of paradigm shifts in my thinking as a young musician. You know, one was the first time I heard Rush, and I just was like, what, you know, I just fell in love with it, and got really into it, and subsequently got into the album Hemispheres. So the song Hemispheres was just one of these songs that just you know, changed everything for me. Yeah. It opened everything up. Another one like that was Yes, Fragile. Hearing you know, any song from Fragile, but probably Roundabout, because it was just played on the radio in New York, and just being like, what is this? You know, what is this? Like, I need to know what this is. I need to get into it. They're life-changing moments.
Did it feel like rock take it further? Did it feel like it had taken like rock further, like those kind of bands, like probably then, like, you know, your Led Zeppelins or your, you know, did it sound like another step? Like, how did you want to replicate it? Like, or not replicate, but did you like, I want to be this nuts? Not like,
right. Well, what it did for me is, you know, like I said, I started off kind of like just the normal kid, you know, in suburbia, playing guitar and trying to learn the music that was on the radio, to finding out like, this is something that I think I could do well. I want to get more into it. And then you start getting into other guitars, classical music, more complicated music. And then when you hear a band like Rush or Yes, where it's like, oh, you mean the song doesn't have to be 3.5 minutes. It could be 15 minutes, you know, and you have all these amazing players playing together in this way. It opened that whole thing up for me, where I was like, rock music could be done in another way. It doesn't have to be just all in 4/4 time. It doesn't have to be in this little box. It could be something more. So yeah, it made me want to do that. It made me want to, and a band like Iron Maiden, the way they would do that well with their big, I mean, as well with their big songs like Hallowed Be Thy Name or whatever, but they'd also be telling these stories at the same time. That was just like mind blowing too, because I'm like, okay, so I could play songs that are 12, 15, 20 minutes long, have long solos, and also I get to write a story and sing about that, you know. It made me want to do that for sure.
I'd have to go with one that changed a lot of people's lives, including politically and in the stance that it took in Beethoven's Ninth. I mean, that had a spectacle on mankind. That's like one of my favorite music ever. Definitely the intro and Shine On You Crazy Diamond by Pink Floyd.
Dude.
That always hit. Dude, I saw that live on LSD when I was a kid, and I'd never heard anything so good. His guitar tone, and it was just so fucking loud, and I was like, dude. And then when it hit, it was just like, you're just like tears, like you can't, you know what I mean?
Because that was about Old Mate, right? Yeah, it was about the dude in the band, like, and like losing his shit. And I don't think you should listen to Pink Floyd without acid, actually, like, to be honest. I don't think you should. I think you should probably do it while listening. It's, call me old fashioned. I just think it's probably the best approach.
It is. No, it's what intended.
It's how it was intended. That's just the way it is. Okay, number 3. I like this list though already.
Yeah. See, I hadn't got to think this through.
Yeah.
Definitely Into the Void.
Yes.
I don't know. The riffs on that song,
dude.
Like, that made metal a whole new thing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't think anybody would have the jigga jiggas. You know,
that's why I named my YouTube channel after that song.
Into the Void.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Void. That's named after that song because I wanted to remember that riff forever.
I don't have it on this wall, but Alyssa made a picture, and it's just she just painted a canvas, and it's just kind of black and has a couple of purple streaks, and it's just real darkness. And then she framed it, and she's like, check it out what it did. And I was all, the fuck's that? She's all, Into the Void. It's just like this nice frame with Into the Void, just it's all black. I was all, dude.
She drew an actual void.
Yeah. She painted an actual void. Yeah.
Well, it's important to have a void around, you know? Because you used to play Sabbath covers when you were a kid, right?
Yeah, I still play Sabbath covers every now and then. You know,
feeling saucy.
Yeah.
It's okay. 4, song 4. I know. It's kind of mean to put people on the spot like this. I'm kind of like, but it's interesting what your brain kind of turns up when you're actually forced to put on.
I think maybe Ma Vishnu, Birds of Fire, or the Intermounting Flame. They're very similar, both those. Yeah, when I heard that there was something about the meter and the guitar playing, it just totally fucking blew me away.
Sick. Is that some 70s stuff? Did you hear it on that sound system?
Oh yeah. I did. And then God, yeah, I have to go back because it really had a big impact on me when I first. There's so many of those.
Yeah. Yeah,
I can't pick another one that's you can't give me that many choices when I can think of 30,000 different things.
That's true.
5 songs that changed my life. Off the top of my head, all right, Sense of Purpose. Let's just throw that one in there. That's literally the title track on the album. Another one, Where Owls Know My Name is a fantastic one by Rivers of Nile.
Yep.
Just like changing, like
who you are is like your fabric, like your.
Honestly, it's so hard because it's like I want to just name every single In Flames song because
yes, you can pick one.
Good.
You can pick one.
Okay, In Search of I. In Search for I. Boom, there it is. That's my In Flames song right there. That one is so sick.
5 songs that changed my life. So Jeff Buckley, the song Grace fucks me up every time, still to this day. It just destroys me. One, wow, this is a hard question for me.
Yeah, because there's lots, right?
Choose too much. Wow, I don't even know where to begin. Okay, Massive Attack. Your Drop.
Yeah.
Ruined me in the best possible way. That's Grace. I would say I'm thinking of PJ Harvey, but I don't have a single PJ Harvey song that is my favorite. So I'm just going to say that
just her.
Just her. She is a song. We just had her.
Oh my God. Yeah. Who made that Polly Jean? Oof, who made her?
I know, right? There's an Ani DeFranco song that I was completely blown away by as a kid that definitely knocked me in a different direction, if even subtly. It's called Napoleon. Did you ever hear that track? I always loved that one by her. I think she's an amazing lyricist, an amazing guitar player. So that's 4. And then, wow, I'm going to regret this, how many I leave. But I'm doing my best here. And then I would say Head Down by Soundgarden from Super Unknown.
I'm always happy to mention Chris Cornell just in life.
Deuce by Kiss off of the Alive 1 record, the live version of Deuce. I would say Ain't Talking About Love by Van Halen.
Yep.
I would say the song Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath. Let's see. I would say I changed my life. I'll go Rock Bottom by UFO. And for the 5th one, I will say Suck My Dick by Carnivore.
I have to pick 5, and I know I'm gonna kick myself from forgetting a lot of them, but let me see. I'll start with Discharge, with Hear Nothing See. For me, that's like in my DNA. That's probably like one of the best sounding records of all times, and that changed my life when we heard that record. I remember me and Max listening to again a tape from this and just thinking that was like probably the most extreme thing we heard in a long time. So Discharge is definitely one of them. And then I'm gonna jump into, of course, the first Black Sabbath, the song Black Sabbath itself. It's almost like watching a movie. It's so cinematic. It's insane. You know, like just Ozzy's, you know, his lyrics and the voice. He's almost like he's narrating something that it's happening. And then Bill Ward with some really amazing drum work, and yeah, the whole thing. So those two definitely the game changers for me. And then, oh man, that's a tough one.
It is.
I can put, yeah, I mean, I can also put in there something Brazilian, which is Chico Science and Nação Zumbi, which is like this Brazilian band that in the 90s did a lot of amazing stuff, and they were mixing up almost like a psychedelic way of doing some Brazilian percussive music with like Jimi Hendrix guitars and things like that. So that's another one that I'll throw in my top 5. And then of course I have to put in there the Cro-Mags,
yeah,
which, you know, like they're one of my favorite of all times. So yeah, the Age of Quarrel, it's insane. It's such a great record, insane drumming. So yeah, I'm in my top 4, right?
Yeah, you got one more, I think.
Okay, so I'll put in there something even more weird, which is Aphex Twin, which is one of my favorites artists of all times. Like he's a pure genius. And yeah, Come to Daddy.
Well, I kind of go a little bit chronologically, I guess. So Black Sabbath and Symptom of the Universe will be my song. We got to cover that when we did Chaos AD, and it was one of those covers that I was like sweating and trying not to fuck up, you know, like you're touching the gods here, you know, you're not just covering, you're covering something sacred. It's like, yeah, you're fucking with the sacred now. You cannot fuck up, you know. So, but the cool thing about it is that we made our own, you know. So this the Sepultura version is very much the Sepultura version of Symptom of the Universe. You know, it was not just us just making a cover song, which I think that's the cool thing about a cover song, is when you can bring your imprint into that artist and put together. And I think that, but the song itself in its original form from Sabotage, second song on Sabotage, right after Hole in the Sky, that riff, goddamn Tony Iommi, I fucking hate you for writing that riff, because I wish I could write that riff. And it's one of those very envious things, like, oh man, I wish I could write that riff. So I got to play it. I got to cover. So I went as close as that. But yeah, so I started with that, and then second one, we got to go back to the origins of the black metal thing with us. It'd be Hellhammer, Massacra, just pure ugly music for ugly people. It's great. You know, it's just raw, no solos, just fucking caveman. You know, it's coming out of a cave. I think it was recorded in a cave in Switzerland. Awesome. It's fucking great. Even today, sounds fucking great. You put it on, it's amazing. And then I think third one, I have to go with the AC/DC. Yeah. Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. Which we cover when we play Australia. Again, we did. It's one of those songs that I hope one day we get to actually go in the studio and really record it.
That'd be sick.
Because the version was cool. It had a fast part in it that is not on the original. So it's very similar to what we did with Symptom.
Yeah.
But AC/DC, yeah, is always the rebellious tattoos and the early, you know, I remember we went to watch the AC/DC movie in a movie theater in Sao Paulo, me and Igor. Yeah. And it was like, those motherfuckers look crazy, man. Fucking Bon Scott with the with the fucked up pants, with holes in his
Balls,
pants.
yeah. You're just aggressive balls. You're just like,
Yeah, it's like it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so raw, right? And they always been raw, man. AC/DC is just raw as fuck. I love it. I love it. They never strayed from the path. And then I have to throw Ace of Spades, of course. That's an anthem. That's the loser anthem of all time. If you're, you know, you're born loser metalhead, this is the song for you. This is it. And we got to cover that during the Roots tour also. It's an amazing song.
Yeah.
I don't know much about gambling. I don't play cards, but I guess that's where Lemmy got the idea for the song. But the rhythm, yes, it's like it's as rebel as it gets. You know, and you look at the Motorhead album, you were scared of them. You're like, oh, I hope I don't cross with those motherfuckers tonight on an empty street somewhere, you know, because they look menacing. They mean business. Yeah. Those are some serious guys, you know, and metal as fuck.
Yeah.
I think the last song I played, this is going to be my different one, my unexpected one. And so it'd be Link Ray. And Link Ray, I'm a big fan of Link Ray. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. He's a American guitar player, kind of surf music. And he wrote a song called Rumble. And Rumble is the first instrumental that was banned because it incited riots in America.
Awesome.
In the 60s. So they banned the instrumental. How crazy is that? There was a fucking ban on the song. The guy couldn't play the song. It's very famous in a bunch of Tarantino movies. It's just the riff. Dan, dan, dan. It's like iconic 3 chords, because that's really all you need. 3 good chords and an attitude, and you go far with that. So yeah, and I love that Link Ray is also Native American. He's you know, he's Comanche or something from here, from the States. And I always loved that about him. Unfortunately, he passed away. But that song and the story behind being the first instrumental band made it for me. It's like, yes, I'm sold on it, man. This is killer. I love this. I love this guy. I love this stuff. And I actually got to know a lot of his catalog and a lot of the music. It's not metal. It's kind of rockabilly surf music, but it's really cool. He's definitely a legend.